What up, though, brothers and sisters? This is your brother, SPEAKROC. Hey, I hope everybody's having a blessed day, and I hope everybody's having a blessed Black History Month, the first day of a day that we celebrate. But we all know that Black History Month is every day for us. Let me go ahead and get to it real quick. As we draw closer to the Super Bowl, I just can't help but make comparisons to what happened to Brother Kaepernick and what took place during slavery times. Not as if I was there, we all know this, but yet and still, some of the egregious actions that took place during times of slavery, probably the number one thing was the tactics of Willie Lynch. If any of you know, especially, it's in a movie actually, a great movie called The Great Debaters with Denzel Washington. He actually covers what the Willie Lynch letter and the Willie Lynch methods, what they were, how slave masters used them on us, Africans, slaves. He went into great detail with his young students, and it's very, very powerful. You can catch it, Google it, you can catch it on YouTube. But in short, it was a method of control where you take over the body of the slave by brutal methods, far as hence the name lynching, which came from Lynch, and methods of whipping, methods of dismemberment by way of a tug of war with horses, and by the way, tied to the limbs of the slave, and you just beat the horse, and it's like 4 horses to each limb, or 1 horse to a limb, and the horses are being beaten, so they're pulling the slave from all different directions until the slave is just torn apart. And by the way, this is done in front of all slaves, men, women, and children. So there was a display, and then everybody else would get beat, so forth and so forth, beat so much to the point where near death. But yet what would happen is that you would let those slaves live. And this was a lasting psychological tactic that was done to the African, and therefore it played tricks to make them understand, like, look, we're going to keep you. You're going to do this slave work that we have for you to do, and you need to understand that. You're going to be physically strong to perform the work, but you're going to be mentally weak to know that you're a slave at all times. And you'll say, well, where are you going with this? Well, I'll tell you where I'm going with it. At the end of the day, we, black folk, we understand why Brother Kaepernick is not in the NFL. We understand. Look, it's not rocket science. This isn't the most difficult thing to understand in the world. We do comprehend why he's not in the NFL. And it was done blatantly in our face. But yet and still, we find ourselves still intrigued, still in love, still attached and joined to the hip with watching football for whatever reason. Whatever the reason may be, we're tied into watching football as if we have to have it. After your own brother has sacrificed. Basically, he was the one that was strung up in front of you. He was the one that was bullwhipped in front of you. Brother Kaepernick, he was the one that was dismembered, figuratively speaking. We know why this man doesn't have a job in the NFL. He made that sacrifice for us, but yet we're still tied to the hip. All I'm saying is, I cannot fathom. If I was alive during slavery times, the way I couldn't understand, as if they would harm and damage and abuse our own brothers and sisters in the way that they did, I wouldn't be able to understand it then. And you know what? I'm damn sure not understanding it now. Therefore, because I wouldn't understand it, I would do everything to fight against it. I would do everything within my power to not be a part of a machine or organization that would do that to my own kindred, my own family possibly. But at the end of the day, that's my brother. If it happened to you, I wouldn't understand it. Black History Month, we have to do better. We have to do better going forward. We can talk tough. We can have all these come up and glow up ideas and dreams. But what are they if they can just lynch someone in front of us and we still go along with working on the plantation? And if we try to figure out a way to stay in and work with the master and go ahead and do some sharecropping. I understand what you're thinking. Yeah, you talk tough, sir. What are we supposed to do? What are we going to do? When you ask me that question, just take some time out and just think. Let your sanctified imagination just try to travel back in time and think about the Africans that were slaves. Think about the conversations that they would have. What were they to do? And I guarantee you that they just didn't sit back and continue to participate in the day-to-day activities without coming up with a plan, without strategizing. Let me stay there just for a minute, because this is one thing that we're failing to understand, and we highly underestimate strategy. This is why I'm not a fan of that phrase, "you have to play the game." That's a phrase that has done more damage in the African American community than most other things. These people aren't playing with you. White people are not playing with you. Asians are not playing with you. Arabs are not playing with you. While you're playing a game, they're strategizing for life, for their livelihoods, for their family, for their legacy. They're not playing a game. It's not a game. You want to play a game, go to Walmart and get you a board game. This isn't that. This is life. This is life or death. And we're coming up short. I know you know what I'm talking about. See, they strategize. They strategically put things in place. They strategically come up with systems to hold you back and to propel themselves forward. If you're on a job right now, think about your supervisor. Think about how they got there. Think about how you're more qualified than your supervisor, but yet somehow this idiot supervises you. That's just not by happenstance. That's not because someone's playing a game. That's a strategic placement. Strategically done to hold you back and move themselves forward. They have agendas. We as African Americans, for some ungodly reason, we refuse to come together unless we are suffering horrific treatment. Then we want to come together for an agenda to survive. These other races have understood for the longest time survival is predicated upon us moving forward our agenda and putting strategic systems in place to ensure that our agenda is met by any means necessary. We like to say it, but they operate in it. To prove my point, I guarantee you somebody's probably looking at this video now like, I wish this boy would shut up. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. While hatred can be laid upon me for me speaking the truth, that's easy. But that same type of hatred and that same type of dismissive attitude will not get placed or sent in the direction of the people that are not just only holding you back, but your people back. This isn't hard. It's not hard at all. So look, I'm just giving you some food for thought as we near this Super Bowl. I know I won't be partaking. I can care less. Doesn't do anything for me. I'm going to concentrate on ensuring that I'm putting out content like this to talk to my people, ensuring that I put actions to words and walk my dogs on these streets and meet my people and make things happen. Make us think. Encourage us to do better. Encourage us to take action. Encourage us to unify. That's what I'm going to be doing. And I'm not going to be doing it just because I'm not watching football. I'll be doing it if I was watching football. I'll still be doing it. That's how much there's an importance of us coming together over participating in some type of entertainment. It doesn't sit well with me. And when something doesn't sit well with me, I have to do something about it. I know everybody may not agree with me, and I understand that. But just because, especially my own people, just because we don't agree, that won't stop me from loving you. That will not stop me from fighting for you. That will not stop me in believing in us, that we can do better. Hey, look, I appreciate your time. This is your brother, SPEAKROC. I'm out.